Now, we've just got a week to go here in the UK until it's a decision on who will govern next. The election is coming up. 7 days of campaign slogans, sound bites and probably smears to come. Will the country be any the wiser about, for example, how Brexit is going to shape its future? Well, one area of the UK that voted to leave the European Union was Cornwall in the southwest of England. And this is a part of the world that receives millions of dollars in EU subsidies. Ros Atkins is there for us. Ros.
Hi David, hi to all of you watching Global. Welcome to the beach here on the south coast of Cornwall. We're just on the edge of what is one of the largest natural harbours in the world. You can see some huge ships just out there on the horizon, and all around me are people having a lovely time because it's half term, the kids are off, the sun is out, and this is when Cornwall makes a lot of its money because it's one of the UK's top tourist destinations. But this is a county under pressure. It's one of the poorest regions in Europe. As David's just alluded to, it receives an awful lot of money from the European Union. The Cornish people voted out. They wanted Brexit, they've got it. How's that issue going to affect how they vote? Let's talk to a couple of people who study here, have joined me here on the beach. Hi Ellie, hi Charlotte, nice to see you both. I think there's an assumption, isn't there, that Brexit will be the #1 issue for voters. It's not been the case in the conversations I've had down here every time. What about you two?
I find a lot of people I've spoken to do think Brexit's really important. Like, obviously there are lots of pressing issues and everyone needs to be focusing on everything and we can't just neglect certain things. But Brexit is essential, like it's going to happen and it's going to be a big thing and it's going to bring a lot of turbulence to our country. So I think voters are aware of that, but they also are aware of other things. So
it's going to affect how you two vote?
For me, the other issues such as healthcare, education, etc. are more important than Brexit. I understand how we have to go about negotiating it, but in terms of like a second referendum or anything like that, that's not something that needs to be talked about, I think.
Just to remind those of you watching, the Liberal Democrats, who are very strong here in Cornwall, have been saying they'll offer a second referendum on the issue of Brexit. The Labour Party, the opposition Labour Party and the Tories won't do that. Who are you going to be voting for?
I'm going to be voting for the Conservative Party.
Okay, and tell us why.
Because there's lots of reasons. I think, I do think Brexit's essential. I mean, I voted Remain in the referendum, but I now think that we've made a decision as a country and we need someone who we can trust who's, well, I hate to say it, but strong and stable to deal with these negotiations, and I just don't think any of the other leaders are going to be able to do that. But also I think there's a lot of things, like we've seen austerity in the last 7 years, and I think those things are absolutely essential for the country.
Let's be clear, you study at a university which was in part set up with money from the European Union,
yes.
But you're now voting for an option which would mean that doesn't happen.
Well, I think the decision,
how do you explain that to people watching?
I think the decision's already been made. I think we've voted in Brexit, we've decided we're going to leave, and now I want to vote for someone who can deal with the negotiations and try and ensure the best deal for the whole country as well as Cornwall.
I'm going to be voting for the Labour Party because I feel they offer the best options for the future of my generation, whether that be the help with housing situation or tuition fees, etc. In terms of Brexit, I still feel I put my trust in the Labour Party to negotiate that.
It's interesting you mentioned the next generation or the younger generation. There's a lot of focus, isn't there, on just how many people your age will turn out.
Yeah.
As a Conservative, you might be worried because normally when younger people turn out, the Tories don't do so well.
I don't think that's the case. No? I mean, obviously, I think whatever happens next week, that's a democratic decision, and that's what we go with.
Yeah.
But I think also a lot of people will vote, you know, and I don't mean to sound rude, but will vote with their heads. And when it comes down to it, I think, like Amber Robb was saying last night in the debate, there's not a magic money tree. And so we can't,
You've got all the Conservative phrases down here. Strong and stable, magic money tree. You've been taking notes. Well, you mentioned the debate. I spent a good half an hour with some colleagues all around this beach earlier. I should tell those of you watching this as well. We couldn't find anyone who'd watched the debate. Everyone was saying, I've come on holiday, I'm leaving politics.
Well, I am a politics student.
But you two watched. What did you make of it? Theresa May didn't show up. The other leaders did.
I think that says it all, really. How can she negotiate with the European leaders on Brexit if she can't even debate with the other party leaders? I think for a while it was kind of harsh on Jeremy. I noticed Leanne Wood threw a lot of harsh comments towards Jeremy as well, which because I'm originally from Wales studying here. So, but I think it was really good, and he was.
So you were glad he showed up. Would you rather Theresa May had been there?
I think she made the right decision. I think the whole thing was sort of an attack for him. as they often are at hustings, it's an attack on the incumbent. It really tends to be that way, sadly. So I think Theresa May made the right decision, because what she did was send a really good representative, a really strong representative, and she has like other things to focus on, and that's what she's been doing.
Both of you, very good to talk. Thank you very much indeed. David, come this way. Quite a few of the kids here in the water having a good time. You'll also note they're all wearing wetsuits, because it may look hot, but actually there's a chilly breeze and the water is cooler still. And I'll also tell you, if you were to jump on one of these boogie boards or one of these paddle boats and go in that direction about 150 kilometres, you'd reach France, which is in the European Union, of course, staying in the European Union now that Mr Macron's been elected. Cornwall opted out, and probably the single biggest driver of how people vote next Thursday will be which party they trust to deliver their vision of Brexit.
It's a big question. Ros, none of that nonsense about being cold. Have a Cornish ice cream for us, won't you? Ros Atkins there in Cornwall.